Hello Internet. Today we have the worst RTX 4090 that you can possibly buy that came in for repair. Customer said something burned, so let's look inside and see what burned and why. While having a look at the cooling solution, I must say this is way too complicated. We have metal plate glued to the vapor chamber. Why? Many different levels of heights that will further complicate the pad replacements to a point that even I struggle to find the right size for anything. In any case, looking for a short circuit, I find short on 12, short on 5, and short on memory. Basically, everything here is short, and I suspect the reason for that is this bulge here. I'm going to attempt to clear out this bulge using these nail polishers and a bunch of attachments, and see where things go from here. Ladies and gentlemen, the glory hole. The short on 12 is almost taken care of, but the memory is still short, so I'll go ahead and polish the hole and see if something else is missing and try again. No luck. The short on 12 is gone, but the memory is still short. And injecting the voltage into the memory rail does not reveal the source of the short, so we may as well have a dead GPU. Who knows? On the back, there were a few capacitors here that I removed. They turned out to be shorted, and now we're reading 50 ohms on memory. Great, we have a fix.
Yes! Alright! Woo!
Nah, I'm kidding, there's no way fixing this board. While it may still be technically possible to repair this hole, in practice, this may not last very long, or it could cause issues along the way. And with that said, not knowing whether or not the cord is alive at this point, Customer agreed to swap the board, so let's do that and see if that helps. Board is prepared, and before I power it on without the memory and the core, I want to see if the board itself works. To do that, I gotta make sure that I am reading 100 ohms in a very specific area. There are two places where we can check that. Directly under where the core would be, or on the back on one of these 4 test pads. I'm gonna scratch the mask off of these pads and measure the resistance. There we have it, 100 ohms, so we can power the board safely and check for voltages. We have 5 here, 5 there, 1.2 here, 1.8 here, core, memory and PEX. Great! Next test is to check all the power phases with the oscilloscope, and everything looks good. All that's left now is to solder the core and memory on the board and hopefully it works. The only issue I have now is that the board is warped, because whoever removed the core from this board initially didn't care about the board itself, so it got warped as a result. Which means I had to spend a lot of time playing with weights and heat to get this board as flat as possible, and I finally managed to get the core to sit flat on the board. So now let's power the board and see if it blows up. Looks quiet to me. So I booted up and it posted. But as soon as I tried to run the Valley, I got a black screen. Next boot, I disabled the NVIDIA drivers and now the Valley works. This does happen from time to time because a lot of graphics cards get inserted without removing the drivers first. So let's put everything together and have a look at it one more time and run some tests, which revealed we have a problem with the fan. The moment I make any sort of speed adjustments for the fan, two fans on the left start to spin at 100% while GPU-Z is reporting 0 RPM. And after pressing the reset, the one on the right has stopped, but the two on the left keep on spinning. I guess no easy fix today.
Not today.
So let's take it apart again and see what's going on. The area of interest is this connector here. As you can see, the tachometer number 1 does register the speed. And the tachometer number 2 is also registering the speed, yet somehow the core cannot see it. So what we need now is to check every component between here and the core, and hopefully we're going to find a location of a signal lost somewhere along the way. This 0 ohm is 0, and it reaches here. 100 ohms here on this resistor as expected, but I want to see if this resistor is actually connected to the core. For that, I will need to remove this resistor and all of its capacitors connected to it and test the pad in diode mode. We have voltage drop, so signal does reach the core. Put everything back, cleaning it up, and while I was cleaning, I noticed that this capacitor was barely hanging to what looks like a ripped trace. That trace happened to be linked to the resistor, which is linked to the core second tachometer sensing pin. So let's connect the two and see if that helps. And there we have it. Fans are now working correctly. RPM is now registering, so we can continue with the stress test, and it looks like we have a fix after all. Thank you for watching. Hopefully this video was entertaining and educating. And if it was, please hit me with a like, comment, and subscribe for more repairs. Goodbye.